Chapter 20. Twice a week, the results of the state basketball tournament were posted on the plywood roadrunner in the courtyard. The surviving teams were into the sectionals now. Then would come the regionals, then, with only two teams left, the big show, the Arizona State Championship. Glendale, the team we had lost to, got bitter, masochistic attention on the roadrunner with scores in foot-high numerals as they continued to win and move through the tournament. Meanwhile, Stargirl was involved in a tournament of her own, the oratorical contest. As Mecca High's winner, she qualified for the district talk-off, as the Times called it. It took place in the auditorium of Red Rock High School, and lo and behold, Stargirl won that too. Next stop was the state finals in Phoenix on the third Friday in April. In my homeroom, when the announcement came over the PA about Stargirl winning the district title, I was about to let out a cheer, but I caught myself. Several people booed. Getting ready for the finals, Stargirl practiced on me. Most often, we went into the desert. She did not use notes, nor did her words seem memorized. Each time she gave the speech, it was different. She seemed to insert new material as it popped into her head. She matched her words so perfectly that the speech was not a speech at all, but one creature's voice in the wild, as nature as a raven's caw or a coyote's howl at midnight. I sat cross-legged on the ground. Cinnamon sat on me. We listened in rapture, and so, I half believed, did the tumbleweed and cacti, the desert, the mountains, all listening to the girl in the long falling skirt. What a shame, I thought, to pack her performance into a schedule and present it to rows of plush back seats in an auditorium. Once, incredibly, an elf owl landed atop a surrey not 10 feet from where she was speaking. It paused for a full minute before ducking into its hole. Of course, we did other things. We walked, we talked, we rode bikes. Though I had my driver's license, I bought a cheap second-hand bicycle so I could ride with her. Sometimes she led the way, sometimes I did. Whenever we could, we rode side by side. She was bendable light. She shone around every corner of my day. She taught me to revel. She taught me to wonder. She taught me to laugh. My sense of humor had always measured up to everyone else's, but timid, introverted me, I showed it sparingly. I was a smiler. In her presence, I threw back my head and laughed out loud for the first time in my life. She saw things. I had not known there was so much to see. She was forever tugging my arm and saying, "Look." I would look around, seeing nothing. "Where?" She would point. "There." In the beginning, I could not see. She might be pointing to a doorway or a person or the sky. But such things were so common to my eyes, so undistinguished, that they would register as nothing. I walked in a gray world of nothings. So she would stop and point out that the front door of the house we were passing was blue, and that the last time we passed it, it had been green, and that was near as she could tell. Someone who lived in that house painted the front door a different color several times a year. Or she would whisper to me that the old man sitting alone on the bench at the Tudor Village shopping center was holding his hearing aid in his hand, and he was smiling, and he wore a coat and tie as if he were going somewhere special, and pinned onto his lapel was a tiny American flag. Or she would kneel down and pull me down with her and show me the ants, 2 of them, lugging and looped leg of a beetle 20 times their size across the sidewalk, as might 2 men, were they strong as ants, carry a full-grown tree from one end of town to the other. After a while, I began to see better. When she said, "Look," and I followed her pointing finger, I saw. Eventually it became a contest. Who would see first? When I finally did it, said, "Look," and pointed and tugged her sleeve, I was as proud as a first grader with a star in his paper. And there was more to her seeing than that. What she saw, she felt. Her eyes went straight to her heart. The old man on the bench, for example, made her cry. The lumberjack ants made her laugh. The door of many colors put her in such a stint of curiosity that I had to drag her away. She felt she could not proceed with her life until she knocked on such a door. She told me how she would run the Mecca Times if she were the editor. Crime would be on page 10, ants and old men and painted doors on page 1. She made up headlines. Ants haul monster load. Across vast barren walk, mystery smile. Old man nod off at Tudor village. Door begs knock me. I told her I wanted to be a TV director. She said she wanted to be a silver lunch drunk truck driver. Huh? I said. You know, she said. People work all morning and then it's 12 o'clock. The secretaries in the office walk out the door. The construction workers put down their hard hats and hammers and everybody's hungry. And they look up and there I am. No matter where they are, no matter where they work, I'm there. I have a whole fleet of silver lunch trucks. They go everywhere. Let lunch come to you. That's my slogan. Just seeing my silver lunch truck makes them happy. She describes how she would roll up the side panels and everyone would practically faint at the cloud of wonderful smells. Hot food, cold food, Chinese, Italian, you name it. Even a salad bar. They can't believe how much food I fit into my truck. No matter where you are, out in the desert, the mountains, even down in the mines, if you want my silver lunch service, I get it to you. I find a way. I tagged along on missions. One day, she bought a small plant, an African violet in a plastic pot on sale for 99 cents at a drugstore. Who's it for? I asked her. I'm not exactly sure, she said. I just know that someone at an address on Marion Drive is in the hospital for surgery, so I thought whoever's back home could use a little cheering up. How do you know this stuff? I said. She gave me a mischievous grin. I have my ways. We went to the house on Marion Drive. She reached into the saddle pack behind her bicycle seat. She pulled out a handful of ribbons. She chose a pale violet one that matched the color of the tiny blossoms and stuffed the remaining ribbons back into the seat pack. She tied the violet ribbon around the pot. I held her bike while she set the plant by the front door. Riding away, I said, "Why don't you leave a card or something with your name on it?" The question surprised her. Why should I? Her question surprised me. Well, I don't know. It's just the way people do things. They expect it. They get a gift. They expect to know who it came from. Is that important? Yeah, I guess. I never finished the thought. My tire shuddered as I slammed my bike to a halt. She stopped ahead of me. She backed up. She stared. Leo, what is it? I wagged my head. I grinned. I pointed to her. It was you. Me what? 2 years ago, my birthday, I found a package on my front step, a porcupine necktie. I never found out who gave it to me. She walked her bike alongside mine. She grinned. A mystery. Where did you find it? I said. I didn't. I had my mother make it. She didn't seem to want to dwell on the subject. She started pedaling and we continued on our way. Where were we? She said. Getting credit, I said. What about it? Well, it's nice to get credit. The spokes of her rear wheel spun behind the curtain of her long skirt. She looked like a photograph from 100 years ago. She turned her wide eyes on me. Is it? She said.